We'll just go by the numbers that they have. Piece number 1 is, of course, the center stand itself. Pretty big part, hard to miss. Second piece are the two frame plates. The one with the post, again, goes on the right-hand side of the bike, and the flat one goes on the left-hand side of the bike. There's the springs. It's two springs encapsulated in one another. Don't pull these apart. That's on purpose. One serves as a backup spring in case one of them fails, so you don't get a center stand dragging and causing you to go rubber side up, which you don't really want to do. Part number 4, they call it the rubber element. It's just a little bumper. Basically, this is going to be installed onto the center stand itself. Part number 5, just some spacers. These spacers are the 10 millimeter inner diameter. You basically lay all 4 of these spacers out. You'll see that 2 of them have a bigger hole than the other 2, so the 2 big ones are the 10s, and I'll jump ahead to part number 8. The 2 little ones are the 8 millimeter ones. Part number 6, got 2 10 millimeter hex head bolts, 7 2 10 millimeter inner diameter washers. Again, you can differentiate these from the 2 8 millimeter washers just because they have a larger hole. It's the 8 millimeter spacers, the 2 socket cap Allen key head 8 millimeter bolts, the 2 8 millimeter washers. Got what they call the buffer. This is the thing that the rubber bumper actually will sit up against. I got a single M8 short socket cap. That's part number 12. And part number 13, the last part, is an 8 millimeter lock nut. This is the right-hand side of the bike. This is the left-hand side of the bike. These are the 2 side plates. See, the one with the post goes on the right-hand side. You'll see a mating post down here, and the spring stretches between those 2 points. That's one of the last steps that we'll be doing. On each side plate, basically, you have kind of a stack up. On the tops of them, there's the 8 millimeter bolt, a washer that goes through the plate, and then there's the 8 millimeter spacer. On the bottom side of each plate, same kind of deal, just a bigger bolt. It's the 10 millimeter bolt, the 10 millimeter washer, goes through the plate, and then there's the spacer. Exact same thing on the other side, just opposite. And you'll see that it kind of mounts to the bike in the middle here. Squirt a little in there, just like the other side. Clean up the plate a bit. Clean off any crud where the plate will mate, and then try to work in the actual bolt so that, again, the metric 10 goes on the bottom, and you can kind of hear that that's gritty. So I've got the wiggler on this thing, and I'm just kind of threaded the wiggler through, and just hand tightening this for now, just to see the fit. And then leave the top bolt in and take out the bottom bolt. Clean it off a bit with a rag just to get any more WD or anything else out of it, and then put on some of the Loctite into the threads. Doesn't take a ton, but hold that spacer back, and you can reassemble. Now this time for keeps, because you've got the Loctite in there. Switching over to the ratchet. Because I had torqued down the bottom one, the pressure will hold the top spacer in so it won't fall out when I take the bolt out. Put a little bit of Loctite on the threads. Thread it back in. Weave the wobbler in through the brake master cylinder and the exhaust. There's just enough room for it to work. So here we are back on the left-hand side of the bike. Now, because basically the whole thing kind of just all goes together at once here, one of the things we need to take care of before we move any further is actually greasing up the posts that are actually on the main body of the center stand. I just put a dab of the grease basically on each one of these posts. And there we go. Left-hand side plate not really attached yet, and there should be plenty of room to squeeze in the spacer that's required and the 2 bolts. I took the top bolt out. I'm just gonna squirt on a little Loctite. And you just have to do the same dance as before to get the spacer behind the plate. It's actually relatively easy to just tight. And just, again, by feel, get the spacer back behind it. Then I'm going to actually use the extension here. I happen to have the wobbler on there. It's not really necessary. Back on the right-hand side of the bike here. And we need to install the bumper components. A couple dabs of the trusty old Loctite on the short cap screw, and you'll use that same 6mm that we used for the bolts for the frame plates. Just use here. And this bumper, I haven't found any particular trick to getting this in there. When I did the last one, I didn't get it in all the way. I think this time I'll hit it with a little bit of WD-40 maybe to make it slippy. And see if I can press it into the hole here. Yeah, that actually worked pretty well. Now for the last step, we just have to stretch the spring between the 2 posts. Now you want the stand in the upright position, and it helps to either have a friend hold the stand up, or I'm using a empty container of oil, which just helps wedge up the stand while I do the work. I take a flathead screwdriver that has a square shaft on it. I think that helps stabilize the screwdriver a little bit. I hook it onto the spring. The other end is already attached to the post towards the motorcycle, and then hook it around the posts where it's sticking out from the stand end, and you can slide the spring down on that. You'll see at this point now, once I remove the screwdriver, the spring will just release and drop into the area on the post where it's supposed to stay. So I use another screwdriver to hold the spring back and attempt to slide out the initial screwdriver. And you see that it took a little bit of work to get it to stay in there. It's a good idea to do a final check of the spring once you're done with the installation, just to make sure that you've got it in there properly. You want to make sure that the larger spring, the hook of that, is sitting on top of the hook of the smaller spring. And that should be true on both ends. That way you know that the spring will be secure and won't pop off on the road or anything like that. Start out with the bike on the side stand. I like to put my left hand on the left handlebar, and I put my right hand on the rear luggage rack or passenger handholds that are on the V-Strom. Tip the bike up so it's basically neutral, centered. Kick the center stand down with your right foot and just stand on the post, and the bike just kicks right back into the upright position, leaving your wheel up in the air so you can do chain maintenance, you can do suspension maintenance, whatever else you need to do.